You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and on today's episode of the show, I'm going to do a bag dump, a gear dump of all my stuff that I have been taking with me on my spring bear hunt. We went for a couple of weeks, tested some new gear, played around with our kit. It's funny, you get the rust off, you kick the dust off after you've taken a little bit of a break from a backpack trip. It always seems that there's few glitches here and there, and you realize every year kind of your tastes change a little bit too. So, however, a lot of this is going to be, if you followed the show for a while, this is going to be kind of a repeat. There might be a few new pieces of equipment in here, but I'm just going to try to go over it quickly so you know what I'm taking with me right now. I'm heading out tomorrow for another couple of weeks, try to finish up, tag out on a few more bears on this trip. So let's get into it. First off, I always pack what I call my wear gear, like in a soft, breathable, I just throw it in this bag. And this has everything I'm going to wear when I get to the trailhead. So I kind of inventory everything to make sure I have it. I don't necessarily want to wear it on the drive or whatever. It's going to take a couple days to get to my destination. So I just throw it in here and it's all ready to go. And I know everything's in here that I'm going to wear on my person. And I always check it off on my checklist. So I have a checklist in my phone of all this stuff. And I make sure, yep, everything's there. Do the same thing with my bag. Everything's there. Checklists are critical just to go through it. And you're like, yep, got that. Oh no, I forgot that one thing. So checklists, I use them for making movies. I use them for packing my camera gear. I use them for my backpack. And like I said, this is my wear gear. So I'm just going to go through it real quick. What I've got on right now are my crispy boots. These are the Laponia, by the way. I like the crispy Laponia. These are the 2.0. I like to get my boots a little bit oversized. And inside the boot, I've got this sheep feet insole, or what is it, orthotic. And this thing, I love this setup. So got the sheep feet in the crispy Laponia 2.0. I like the single layer foam with sheep feet. And if you're interested in them, I highly recommend them. I can't imagine hunting without them now. It's been probably 4 years. And every time you use the code GRITTY at Sheep Feet, you save, and it helps me keep doing what I do because I get a little check for every referral I give to them. So I'm going to mention a bunch of those codes as we go through this, just because it saves you money and it helps me. So that's the crispy Laponia and the sheep feet insole. The other thing I've got is my socks. This is the Smart Wool Zero Cushion. It's got the little Smart Wool logo here. It's the Zero Cushion Classic. Okay. And LG large. This sock liner is like mostly pure like merino, and it has been a life changer for me. I think I started using them in 2010 or something like that. So maybe even earlier. So I'm not sure when they first came out, but I got them then. They discontinued them, and then by popular demand, they brought them back. And you can find them, but I think you have to buy them direct from their website. You can pretty much never find them at a store. They're the best sock. I love them. And I couple that with this darn tough wool hiking sock. So I'll throw this wool hiking sock over this liner. This is a really lightweight, darn tough sock. Boots, sheep feet, boom. It's like I can wear these for 6-7 days of heavy sweating. And I have very, very sweaty feet. So I always bring a second pair of liners and a second pair of Smart Wool socks. About 5 or 6 days, depending how saturated they are with salt and sweat. I'll pull those socks off and I'll put an oil slick in the water and get all that. You'll see just stuff pouring out of the sock, and I'll rinse them all off, hang them in a tree, put them in a camp, put them in my teepee, and put on fresh ones. And then usually I don't really need to go back to them, but they're there just in case. And sometimes I have, because we've packed out a heavy load for 10 miles, and what you can tell once your socks get too far gone, they stop working, and that's when you can get those blisters. Like they wick moisture away, but once there's too much salt and grime and minerals and sweat in there, and they're too wet and saturated, and they just stop wicking. They stop doing anything, and you have a problem. So that's my setup there. And then in the bag here, I have my pants that I like. Here's another pair of these Darn Tough. These are a little thicker ones. Same sock. That's my second pair. This is Kuiu Katana pant. I've had these for 3 years. I kind of wear them on 90% of my hunts. They're gross and dirty, and they've held up. I like the mesh zipper here. As you can see, there's a few holes in them. It's probably time to break down and get a new pair, but I got to tell you, man, I probably worn these for more than 300 days of use in these over the last few years, and they're still going. What I like about these is the cut, the feel. The material, though, is also pretty unique. They sort of have a they stretch, but unlike a lot of stretchy pants that have spandex in them, they don't get baggier and baggier and baggier every day. So there's something about the way these are sewn, and I don't believe they have like a spandex thing in them. Instead, it's sort of the stretch material with the way they're sewn. But whatever they did it right, because a lot of times when you wear pants every day for 10 days in a row or 20 days in a row, I wore these for 16 days in a row. They got bad. They got pretty gross. But they hold out well. And again, they seem to deal with all that grime and sweat pretty well, dry out quickly. The cut is good. And I end up, I just like them. There's other pants out there I've worn, some other versions of Kuiu. I still like the Sitka Ascent pant, but those Ascent pants, they're you feel naked in them. And so they're for pretty hot days. Otherwise, if it's cool in the morning, like it is in the spring, and then it gets hot in the afternoon, I like this pant because it handles me for both situations, where there's no vent zip in the Sitka pant, and you put them on and they definitely breathe, but you might as well not be wearing anything in the morning when that wind is brisk, and it's miserable. It can be a little bit too much breathability. So this is a nice blend because you got this vent zips on the side that sort of fix, so they're great for the cooler weather in the morning, and then they're great for the afternoon when it gets hot. And then, like I said, they don't stretch and get weird shapes over time. Piranha, like these Piranha Zion, I think they discontinued this pant, but I like this pant. But my brother wore them on that last hunt, and they were like 3 sizes bigger by the time he spent 10 days in them, and they were just gross. So you need a pant that doesn't overstretch. So I just have a little Kuiu belt that I wear with these. Also, something I'm going to get into in a little bit. These came unsewn right here, and they split open, and there was a hole back here. My pants were hanging down while my belt was holding them up, and that wasn't good. So I got my little sewing kit, whipped that out, fixed the pant right as rain, put them back on, and went. And that's something a lot of guys forget, is to bring a little sew kit. You can pick them up at the store. I think mine is like, I forget the brand. You just waltz in there and get some Gear Aid or some kind of brand like that, and they're in there. This is a merino wool top that I have. This is a Mountain Ops merino wool battleground hoodie. I've been wearing this for probably 4 or 5 years now as well, maybe longer. I like the weight of the lightest weight version they have, 180 gram. Yeah, it's just a nice wool, plain, simple top. Works well for me. I sweat a lot. Wool's the way to go. Then I got my bino harness in here. I got this one from Leupold. It's I think it's a marsupial platform, but yeah, I got my bino harness. Right here are my earplugs. They're always attached. And these are the form-fitting earplugs, the ones that
Radians or whatever.
Radians, is that what they're called? You get the putty, and then that's the shape of my ear, folks, the inner ear. And then you just pop them in there, and they're custom molded to my ear. So they're very, very useful. And I have a spare pair inside the top lid of my backpack, but I always have these on my bino harness. So I always have 2 pair because you can be in the middle of this moment, pull your earplug out, be looking for your bear or your wolf or whatever's coming. And then you're like, where'd I put it? And rather than, I just have that spare pair. I just grab them. It's happened to me many times. I end up finding them, but after I take the shot. So, yeah, you did. So, I got my InReach on my bino harness so that if I ever just take off running after something and ditch my pack, I have this for emergency. I got my knife in my bino harness. Sometimes I carry it around my neck. Sometimes I have it in here. I got some spare batteries and things for headlamps, and I got a little Leatherman tool in here, a wind checker, and the binos I've got are these new Leupold range finding bino. They're pretty dang sweet. This will be my second time trying to use them, getting the hang of them. I love a range finding bino. I never thought I would, but gosh, once you have a range finding bino, it's hard to go back to one of these right here. This is another option when I use my other binos, and it's just, a monocular rangefinder. Ballistics can be programmed, and this is the Leupold 2800. Counts for angle and all that stuff. Anyway, I've got this one right here, and yeah, so that's my bino rig basically. And what else in here? I always have like a pair of soft gloves, lightweight, nothing too fancy for springtime. These are just some Sitka liners, basically like felt liner. They're from a different glove, but I often just use liners. I don't need the whole Gore-Tex setup. So, what else in here? That's pretty much it. I got my, these are the Smart Wool socks and so on. So, okay, that's my wear stuff. That's what I'll put on to hike, to hit the trail running. And, that's my setup. With those katana pants, you want to make sure that you have a belt. And I've used a ton of belts. I mean, whatever. You use a belt you like. But I do like a thin, low profile belt. That Kuiu one has worked great. I like it better than the Sitka version. I have both. I think the Kuiu one's just simpler and cleaner. And it's not as fancy, but it just seems to work better. You don't need fancy. Rifle. Let's take this off the bag right here. This is Weatherby 338. I got the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover on it. And got the Weatherby 338. I love this short barrel. We use this to hunt moose and caribou in Alaska. And I've got it. This one is the setup right now for that hunt. So it's 225 grains, Barnes TTSX bullets. And I've got a little Harris pot on here. It's a little heavier than I like, but the lightweight platform seems to be a little more stable with that bipod on it than one of the other lighter carbon ones. Ryan has a brake on his, which is the
Rock Slide TS5, I think.
TS5. And it definitely reduces the kick. He's able to track, he can stay in the scope on the shot. With the radial like this, neither one of us can stay in the scope. I haven't got one put on mine. I'm slacking. I need to do that. And Ryan assures me at that point, the bipod is you don't need such a robust setup. But anyway, something I need to get dialed, but haven't done yet. I don't like packing with such bipod. I usually use a Spartan Precision, which I really like. We also have discount codes with those guys if you use the code Gritty over there. And I use most of the time, but I just this rifle is light with a big bullet. It has a little bit of a bounce. So I found like I'm a lot more accurate right now. But again, I think it's just the nature of having a lightweight rifle.
What scope you got on?
This is the Leupold VX6. It's a 3-18 and 44 millimeter objective. I freaking love this scope. And you know, I beat the hell out of my stuff, as anyone who hunts with me can attest. I'm not the most careful with gear. And what I like about Leupold is it just can take a beating. So there you have it. Little short rifle. I stick it in the side of this initial ascent pack. I like to haul it. It's got the little pocket right here, which we asked them to design this way. Boom. Works really well. And then there's the center buckle, the top buckle here, like this, where you can just strap it on, which we really like. Or I can do the center buckle, which I have at times, so I can secure the load. Depends on how much gear I have in my bag, really. So I'll have the load buckled and in place and kind of cinched down how I want it. And then I'm like, I replaced what came on the initial ascent pack. I replaced the buckle with this locking buckle. And so this is the original. I'm going to take this buckle off, but I threw this one on, cinched that thing down with the locking buckle. My load never shifts because it's got support here and here, and I can just boom, pull that off like that. And my rifle comes off and my load stays where it needs to be. In the past, my initial ascent pack, this buckle, there was no attachment onto the bag. So this was a design we wanted them to change for us. When we were talking to them about it, we're like, hey, this would really help to change this. And so they did it, and it's nice. So it's nice to have that option. Seat that thing down low like that, pull this locking buckle across, cinch it down, boom, and it'll stay there. I like it. Nothing overly fancy in terms of a gunsling or anything extra. It's just a bag. And that's all we found we need. We like it that way. We've been, every backpack company sells something that kind of helps you sling the rifle. But with that short barrel, we don't even bother. We just stick it in the pocket and buckle it to the side. Got a Stealthy Hunter rifle or Stealthy Hunter glassing pad here. Use the code Gritty at Stealthy if you want a rifle cover, if you want a glassing pad. Every time you use the code Gritty over at Stealthy, you save, and it helps me out. So this is a piece of equipment that I mocked in the beginning and now cannot live without. So once you've had this thing in use, you'll be like, man, I should never have not had this thing. Insulates you when you sit on the ground. We use it for fanning flames on fires, we use it for shooting with the backrest for your butt of your rifle. We'll use it as a table to set stuff on. We'll use it as a flagging device to tell a guy to go this way, or so that he can spot you on the other side of the mountain as you're climbing up and keep an eye on where you're at if you're on a stalk. It's a very, very useful, crazy useful piece of equipment. So I'm going to start sitting on that now because this rock is not pleasant. This is a Petzl Ride right here. The Ride. Do you remember if this is 6 or 8 ounces?
I want to say it's 8 and the other one is like 12.
12. So I like this one. I like the angle of it. You can see it's got some serious use. We hunt on in some steep country, and we almost always have to chop out a bed or a place to perch up, or even a little notch in a hillside for a glassing pad to then sit there all day. In the past, we used our boot and tried to kick something out, or we grabbed a rock or a stick and carved it. And the thought of carrying something like this was like, the weight. No, we're all pretty much in the game now. Somebody needs to bring it. If Brad and I go together, we're always bringing it. If I go with Ryan, if Ryan goes with someone else, Ryan started packing one. They're just too useful. So we'll chop out a little. It's amazing what this thing can do in terms of moving rocks. And when you're setting up a teepee on a slope, which we like to use teepees a lot, but even if you're using like a single man shelter, it's the same thing. You had a deer bed. It's something to work with, but you still got to chop it out more to fit you. You're bigger than a deer when you're laying prone on the ground, going to bed. So this thing is money. Can't recommend it enough. So this is the Petzl Ride. I mean, what do you think, Brad? It's
100% worth it.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking.
You should have bought it
years ago,
6 months ago, because now it's more expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
$130 now.
When I bought it, I think it was $80 or something, 70 or $80. So everything's more expensive now. Thank you, President. Okay. So let's get into the rest of this. I love my initial ascent bag. This is the 8K. This thing is legit. The design, I've said this before. I think the frame, carries heavy weight, better than any other, frame I've ever used. The suspension system, it's comfortable. This thing, this carbon fiber frame is genius. The way that it, holds your load and it drives it to your hips, and all that weight is distributed over the course of this frame. It's not overly heavy. And, man, I love the thing. And at first I was on the fence. I go back and forth between bags, test it, try something else. And then Initial Ascent would go back and take my feedback and sort of modify stuff until what they have now, I think, is unbelievably comfortable, carrying heavy loads. And the bag is just right, because it's large. I was talking to Ryan the other day, and he's like, man, the more I use it, the more I appreciate it, because it's just so big and so versatile, and there's so much room. I like the access it gives. So one of my favorite features about this new bag design is the top lid. Now, the top lid has always been there, but this is probably one of my favorite things about Initial Ascent when I first got it, which sounds corny, but it's not. The top lids it's just so easy to access. It's a big lid, lots of room for you to get your gear in and out. I had them remove the bar tacks on the back, because everything I need in my teepee when I go to bed is right here in this top lid. Everything. So I like to spoon, my water filters, my toothbrush, the bathroom kits, like hygiene, everything in knives, battery packs, rechargers, all that kind of stuff is in this lid. So I just I remove the bar tacks here, Initial Ascent, so you can just pull it out right there. Just pull these two tabs, lid comes off like this, and now boom, I can just toss it next to my pillow, and everything I want that I'm going to need that night is right there. And I can just toss my bag in the corner and not have to worry about. I can even leave it outside if it's fair weather, hang it in the tree next to it, whatever. But this, I like, comes off quick. So I'm going to go over what's in this top lid right now, and then we'll get into the bag next. So in the top lid is kind of the main everything. Okay. We'll get in here, go through it. Okay. Right here, I've got spare gloves, just a little pair of wool, fingerless gloves for springtime. Sometimes they just take the edge off. I like fingerless gloves quite a bit. In here, I have my spare earplugs. Those are the same kind of earplugs I had before that I showed you, the molded ones. These are lighters. So I have multiple lighters in here for starting fires. Okay. Got these little pouches, just sort of keep things organized. Got a compass in here, just emergency, so I can, if I need it. Got my headlamp spare. This is just a spare from Peaks, an old prototype I've got. I don't even have the headband or whatever. I'll just clip it into the other clip, what I've got. And then I've got in here, my spoon, And in this case, I have a head net just in case there's mosquitoes and stuff like that. I always keep that with me, even though I rarely use it. But sometimes you do have a bug problem, and I can just throw that mosquito head net over my head and go to sleep in my bag, especially if I'm sleeping out under the stars, maybe. And then I got some Allen keys because kind of always need Allen keys for little jobs we have. So that's what's in this little bag here. I always have 2 headlamps, like I said, little gloves. That's all on my checklist, by the way. In my gear list, which I'll include in the description field of this video. Here, this is just a bag cover, lightweight bag cover to go over this, like a rain jacket. And then got a little beanie, got an extra. I always pack a beanie in here. In this springtime, I don't really wear it that much, but sometimes in the morning, take the chill off. This is the ultralight water purifier by SteriPen. This one's tiny, doesn't weigh anything, and it's rechargeable. There's a little charging port right here. I can get days and days and days of water purification out of this, which I use with this GSI Microlight bottle. Been using this for a long time. It keeps things hot, keeps things cold. Lamper's got a hack with a new lid.
Yes.
That he got, which I'm looking at. Too. Where'd the lid come from? Who makes it?
Camelback.
So Camelback has a lid that is compatible with this top, so you can get rid of this, and then it has just a little nipple that you can drink out of and put the knob back on. So this one, you're not going to drive down the road in your car and like drink out of it and spill it all over your face. But that new lid, it'll do that. So pretty cool. I like that little hack. He showed it to me on this last hunt. So, but we love that bottle. It's just light and it's insulated and keeps your stuff hot or cold if you're a coffee drinker like Ryan. Here's my other headlamp. This is the newest version. It's got the sweet little button here that turns red when it's dying or it's dead. It's green when it's ready to go. It's got the faster charging port right here. This is made by Peaks, the Duo. This is the faster, newer port. Unlike my older one version. It's a red headlamp. It'll go do red light. It'll do it'll do white at different settings. It'll fine tune to some settings. This headlamp has a high beam of power that lasts a very long time and doesn't weigh very much. The whole thing is pretty much the battery. I mean, otherwise there's very minimal weight, LEDs. The thing runs forever. Sometimes we'll go a whole 10-day hunt and not have to recharge it once. It'll beam really far. So when I have a grizzly I'm in grizzly country and I got to hike out and it's getting dark, I like being able to see long distances so I can see way out there if I see eyeballs or something. And I can see if I'm getting cliffed out. You know, I've done some hikes where I'm like, I need to be able to see. It's pitch dark. I need to be able to see a ways down there to see if that's the route I need to take or this one. And those headlamps that go 10 yards, they're not useful. I need a beam that can just really go out there. So that's where Peaks just went back to the drawing board and just kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until they got something that Ryan and I were pretty stoked about, which was great. So really appreciate that. So use the code GRITTY if you want one. It's the Backcountry Duo headlamp. Can't recommend it enough. And helps us when you use the code over there at Peaks. Keep doing what we do. So thank you. This is more fire starter stuff. So this is my more lighters. I carry a bunch of lighters. You can never have enough fire. And then in here, these are the S-Bit fire starter. It's almost like bear fat or something. It even smells kind of like bear fat, but it's some kind of oil-based something. It doesn't burn as hot and as long as like what I've used in the past. Trioxane. But it's a little better and cheaper. You can buy tons of it at the shop, pack it in there, and it takes a minute to light, but let it burn a little bit, throw it in there. It'll burn a while. And man, it's just convenient for all our wood stoves and all the fires we start. I still like to carry a little bit of trioxane on very dangerous cold weather hunts because that stuff will burn underwater. It's unbelievable. This isn't quite like that. But for 90% of my hunts, this is, well, for all the hunts, this is it. The S-Bit is great. It's been my favorite fire starter so far. And then, like I said, for like when things get real dicey, big trioxane tablet to like burn through whatever. So these are the newest version of the Graxaw boot dryers. They're indestructible. There's so many modifications to these that make them so tough. Super stoked on these, and they plug into your battery pack, and there they go. They charge up your, they blow air into your boot. And if you've ever hunted with a full grain leather boot in really cold and wet conditions and you fall in the water, your boots get soaked, a lighter weight boot can dry out in a teepee with a stove or in the sunshine the next day. But some other boots, especially insulated ones or leather ones, it's a real problem. We pretty much don't go anywhere without somebody packing at least one of these in our group, because if your boots do get wet, you can just plop these suckers in there and they are guaranteed to dry out. Your boots will dry out with this little tool. And without, you could be wearing wet boots for days. So we love these little boot dryers. Okay. Bullets. This is a little bullet pouch you can get at Go Hunt. It's a nice little kit that they have. Throw bullets in. Yeah, just your standard bullet pouch over at Go Hunt. Use the code GRIDDY over there. You save when you shop at the Go Hunt Gear Shop. Any of this stuff that's not direct from a partner, you can buy at Go Hunt, and you'll get a discount using the code GRIDDY. Okay, this is like the standard I gotta go to the bathroom kit. Got some lotions. I've got Recticare, which is 5% lidocaine. Sometimes the nether regions get raw, something goes south. That's a numbing agent, just to numb everything up, get through the pain on a brutal hike out or something. Got a little preparation H ointment in there, to each their own. I got a little steroid cream that prescribed years ago that does wonders sometimes. If I got poison oak or poison ivy, I put that on there and it's like major. So get some kind of ointments, lotions. I get baby wipes. I got preparation H, whatever. Cause sometimes one of the worst things that can happen to you is you're on a backcountry hunt, 12 miles back, and things got bloody and raw. You didn't quite keep things clean enough. Got chafing. The other thing that's in there is Aquaphor. I have a little bit of a tub of Aquaphor that you can use to sort of lube up some of those sore spots. And then you can always use Leukotape on your back. Like this last trip, I got some kind of scab on my back. I don't know what happened, and threw some Leukotape on there. And it just, any place where you get some rubbing or any kind of chafing, it's money. Okay, this is my knife kit. This is from Goat Knives. Simple, tiny ibex. And then you got the replaceable blades. And then I got game bags in here too. So that's just my knife. I like that. Go to Goat Knives and get yourself the ibex or one of those other replaceable blade knives, as well as, I forgot to mention, that knife in my bino harness, which I'll show too. I can never remember the names of anything. Brad might, but this knife is my favorite. I love this freaking knife. Right here. Nitro V steel. I love the blade. It's a goat knife. This has become, I don't know, the angle, the sharpness, how it holds a blade. I like the handle. It's just become my favorite, even though I have other versions of goat knives. I like that it's all one solid piece. It's just a tough knife. It's thick. Can get in there and pry through bones and stuff. Yeah, I'm super happy with this. So again, use the code GRIDDY over at Goat Knives. Gritty Goat. Is that what it is? Use the code GRIDDY GOAT over at Goat Knives. Our buddy Travis Nowotny owns that company, and he's doing a great job. So support him. Okay, right here is toothbrush, floss, sort of your standard whatever. I got a little ibuprofen in here. This is kind of just the teeth kind of work. I did pack 2 of these, which I've never used before, by Clean Freak. Body wipe, scent free. It's just a It's just a little baby wipe, I think. But they sent me a package of them, and I thought, well, I'll try them. And normally I don't wash at all, but this summertime I can get sweaty, and some of these hills we climb will go down and go up. I can't recall times I've been sweatier than that. And then you let that kind of pile up, and I found like I just need a wipe to like clean up from between the knees and the waist in that region. Just once every 4 or 5 days helps a lot in the grimy feel, managing the grimy feeling that you get from extended hunts like that. So,
and we all appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I mean, sure, whatever. I don't sweat. I don't stink. So this is a nifty little doohickey that I got. Brad got one too. We got them at Z-Packs. I've been using a Z-Packs tarp for years. It's Cuban fiber. And basically, this is like a little dry bag, and I can put whatever I want in here. Anything I want, I can throw inside this Cuban fiber waterproof bag, which is great. But that's not why I got it. You can roll it up like this as well. And you can, make it any size you want. You can make it longer, shorter, and you can use it to put any gear in it that you want. So it's just a tiny, lightweight Cuban fiber bag. But here's the money part. You can pull it through like this and flip it inside out. And it's got a felt side, folks. It's got a little felt side. And you got some loops. You can tie it down, stake it, whatever you want to do.
I have the strap that goes on, that goes around your air pad.
Okay, so Brad has the strap that goes on here and then goes around your air pad to keep it from moving around. Yep. I don't really have a problem with it moving around. I just kind of throw it in my bag, inside the bag itself. But this little thing becomes a pillow, a sweet pillow. I don't like air pillows, hate them. Never could sleep on one of those. But this, I can stuff my puffy jacket, puffy pants in here and have a little down pillow, just like that. And the felt feels real nice. And so I used to just throw it inside like a bigger stuff sack like this, but then your face isn't on something nice and comfy and soft. So anyway, we all kind of got one. I think all of us have one now. And
I would recommend, not the medium, go the next size up.
The large?
The large.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought too. Now that I have it, I think you might as well go. It doesn't weigh anything. It's absolutely weightless. And I think that this is just the bare minimum size for my head. I actually was thinking, man, I could use this just a touch bigger. So nice little nifty pillow setup made by Z-Packs. Maybe a hunting brand will make one of these down the road because it's not that complicated, and maybe make some upgraded features as well. Add some features that we'd like to see. So I got your baby wipes in here. Some people use toilet paper. I like baby wipes. This is a game call for predator in case we see a wolf or coyote or bear or whatever. We just want to sit down and try to call something in. It is predator hunting, so that's kind of where we're at there. This is a little pouch that I use to store cables in. So it has all the various electric cables that I need to charge camera, headlamps, water purifiers, in-reach devices, all the things. So I got all the cords in here. And then I have the Dark Energy battery pack, which has never let me down. And if you use the code GRIDDY over there, you save. They've been a partner of ours for quite a while now. Love these guys, and they're making a great product, robust, durable, long lasting. The only complaint is if you're not careful, sometimes the light will turn on, which maybe they're going to get rid of. It's been a suggestion of ours, because sometimes you'll have a full battery pack and you can see it has these little bars here that tell you it's four green lights that say it's full charge. But you hit that by accident in your bag, there's no lock to keep it from happening. Doesn't happen like hardly ever, but it has happened before. Once to me, once to Brad. And when it does, you're pissed off because you went in with a full charge and you're coming out without one. So we're kind of careful. When I put it in my bag, I put it at the top lid. Nothing's there to, bump it, push a button on it or anything like that. And so that is the top lid. That's everything that's in there. As you can see, like, kind of have a lot of things in here that are just, your fire starter stuff, your bathroom kits, your spoon, your extra gloves, little beanies, your water purification, your toilet paper, baby wipes, all that. It's kind of all right there, accessible in the top lid. And look how much crap I put into this top lid, and there's room to spare. You got a little pocket right here, and I have tags and licenses and things in there right now. And later I'll put them in my bino harness. And you can open this top lid right here. It's a sleeve. And it'll take a Camelback water bladder, fits in there just perfectly. I forget the liters.
Yeah, two. A 3 might fit.
I think it's a
2 for sure.
2 or a 3. And then you've got the little cable here, or the little hole for the hose, so you can run a water bladder in there. And then the other thing that I've done is I've turned this into a backpack. So I have extra straps in here. You buckle that on, and then boom, you can throw this thing on your back with the water bladder in it and a little hose to drink out of. And Brad and I can bomb after some elk when we're bow hunting and just go. Just grabbing the top lid, and I can set up a strategy where right now my top lid has everything I need in it, kind of for the camp, but I would change it with a day's worth of food, a few other things for when I want to just ditch my pack and go on a stalk with a bow. And I like when the packs I wear ride high on my shoulders, because Brad and I do a lot of steep country hunting where we butt crawl down a mountain, spend a lot of time crab walking and butt crawling down hills, and you can lay pretty flat and you can shimmy down there with this up high, especially when it's got less stuff in it, which is how I would typically do it. But then I'd have my water bladder, I have days worth of water, I'd have my food and snacks for the day, a puffy jacket, just little things that I might need, my game bags and my knife, all that stuff, like kind of right there at the ready. So sometimes we'll do that because that's how the hunt's unfolding. So options, but I love the top lid. I love the shape and the size and the accessibility. Another thing I have in here that I didn't mention, and I often carry in my top lid, but I just sort of shoved them in here today. And that is, these, water bladders. I carry these 3-liter, sometimes bigger, Hydropack, Hydropack Seeker 3-liter. These have been great to us over the years. So we have various sizes, but we like this brand. It's been very durable, very useful. So I have actually, because sometimes water's hard to get, so we'll bring like 4 or 5 of those, or just some bigger ones.
I have an 8-liter one, and I usually carry at least 1 or 2 3-liters.
Yeah. So sometimes we just go big with the water, but they make a great one. And so, yeah. So, real quick, sometimes we're on a hunt and we're packing in and we got all our stuff in the bag, and we're like, we're going to go bomb after some critters, but I don't want to unpack all my stuff and stash it somewhere. And, with my top lid, I got a lot of what I need, but I don't have a pack when I need to pack the animal out. Let's say I kill it. I'm already, a mile down the mountain in a canyon. It's like I shoot a bear or an elk or whatever. It's nice to have your pack, but I don't need the whole pack. So Initial Ascent has a sweet rig here where it does a cool thing. Let me show you, where you can swap it into what they call day mode. And I'll show you how that works. So you saw me, I pull the top lid off. Okay. Here's my bag. So you can pull these load lifters out right here. Just push them through right there. Another load lifter right there. And this bag will slip off. So I'm going to undo these buckles on the side. There's 3 of them. There's 1, 2, and 3. I just detached those from the main bag. Do the same thing on this side. Detached them all from the main bag. Okay. I did the load lifters right here. I pull up right here. And the last part is right here. We remove the bar tacks here too, so you can just pull it off. And now here's my bag with my whole camp in it, everything. but I don't need that to go on this, to bomb down this mountain after this critter. But I do need a bag that I can just throw on my back and go. So that's what this is. Now, right now, I don't have on there. Normally I do. There's it comes with a day mode bag right here. And it's just a little tiny sleeve that allows you to put your game meat on this. And it becomes a meat shelf. And I have like 4 frames. Actually, I didn't know it wasn't on there. So I swapped it out the other day. So I got to throw it back on there before I leave on this trip. So that's good. But anyway, it's got a little sleeve right here. So I can then buckle, I can throw a jacket on there, a little bit of whatever I want, buckle it in, and it has a little pull and it kind of goes on there. You can check out Initial Ascent's website to see what I'm talking about. Kind of annoying it's not on here.
I will put on the video
from
the last gear dump that you did.
Okay.
I'll include that on them.
So then you can throw your top lid back on, and I actually like to throw it on, and I shove it through the ears even though you're not supposed to, and it's not built for that. But I do it like this because my top lid's pretty heavy usually. There's a lot of weight to it, and I like it just like firmly attached to the bag. But you can reattach it to just the straps too. But it hangs a little low with the weight on it without the bag underneath it to kind of hold it up. So I like to attach it just like that. And then I just reattach the load lifters like so. And the bag is ready to go in day mode and just bomb down the mountain. Like I said, I don't have the bag attached right now, which I normally do. And so you can't see it, but you throw the bag on like this. I have just my whole camp, all that crap that I'm carrying for days and days and days. I didn't have to unpack it, nothing. And here I am. So I strategically plan. I'm like, okay, if I were to take off like this, what would I want in my bag? So I make sure my top lid has what I need in it. I make sure that the meat shelf bag, which isn't attached right now, but normally is, I make sure that top shelf bag has what I need in it. And I make sure that my pouches right here, that they have what I need, which is usually camera gear and some snacks. I mean, that's kind of what I end up carrying. Ryan is more fortunate where he doesn't have to deal with camera gear, batteries, microphones, and all that. A lot of my pockets get taken up by that stuff. But anyway, so you can see then you're like in this much thinner profile, less bulky setup. And like I said, there's normally a bag right there. That's the meat shelf bag that you can stuff a puffy jacket in, puffy pants for it, if things got cold. Rain gear. That's the other one. So anyway, I love this setup. I don't think that there's anybody out there that really has a pack that comes apart so quickly. And I'll quickly reverse that, put it back on. And I've done this many times. We're expedition style, packing in on a 10-day trip. So everything's fully loaded. And then it's like, oh, we see a critter and we got to climb that hill and go after it. But I don't want to unpack my whole pack, but I need my bag. And then I have to like stash it somewhere, throw a tarp over it, make sure nothing gets gross with it, So it's pretty simple. Come down here. I usually do the bottom first. You fish it through here and here, like so. Comes back. You attach the bottom like this. Pull it. This is a fully packed pack, like I said, like expedition style pack. Got it there. And then on the top, I take these, fish them over, put my hand loop in there, fish this over the ear. Okay, got my bag where I want it. Now I reattach these buckles right there for the load lifter. Super easy to do. Just takes a moment. Now my bag is back the way it was, and I simply bring this buckle over, middle buckle, like so, top buckle. Same thing on this side. and you have, voila, the bag back together and very little hassle. I mean, it's just simple. And then keep in mind, it's the same setup. It's the same setup for turning it into a pack board. So if you just want to ferry meat, the whole bag comes off, and just put your meat right on your frame, right where you want it, up high, adjusted. Maybe carry the bottom of the meat like up here somewhere, middle lumbar, so that the weight is carried over your hips and in the right position, because it's a big difference carrying heavy loads of meat down here by your ass or up here and up and stacking it higher. So that's how we like to run it. And then what's cool about it is once you have it strapped to the board, you can still attach this outer bag with all your gear in it using these buckles to the frame over the meat. So your meat doesn't go inside the bag itself, just like your standard meat shelf. Initial Ascent they nailed that. They just nailed this setup, I think, better than most, if not all, the companies out there that are offering something similar. So that's my take. But top lid goes back on, like I showed you before, and boom, you're back in business. It's a very simple, quick setup. So real quick, what do I do? What else do I got in the bag? Well, I like to carry puffy gear in this outer pocket right here. It's a mesh. It stretches. I always grabbing puffies and taking them out and put them on, taking them, back and forth. So these are the Black Ovis cheapo, or I should say budget, inexpensive, puffy pant. I beat the crap out of these and they just keep on going. I got lots of holes in them. I just tape them up again. I wash them and it puffs that down right back up again. It's impressive. This little pant has been nice. I think I don't remember what their price is, but they were $150. And I think you're at least $50 to $100 less than the next version up. I like to get these puffy pants. If I'm wearing puffy pants, I'm wearing big ones, big clown size puffy pants. So I think these are XLs, because, man, I wear a puffy pant just to wear like a sleeping bag, and I'm just going to put it on over what I'm wearing. I'm not going to hike around or move in them much. I don't need them to be like super athletic fit or any of that kind of stuff. I don't care. So this is a great little pant, and it just won't die. They just won't die. So I just haven't switched up to something different. And it's the budget thing that I really like, because KUIU, Sitka, they're puffy pants. Like, you don't do anything but wear them to glass or to sit still, or wear them in your sleeping bag when you go to bed. You're not hiking in them. They don't need to be particularly fancy, durable, nice cut, any of that stuff. So I like the Black Ovis for that. Then I have these gloves because I can never leave them home. I probably should. Don't need them this time of year, but I love these. I think they're discontinued. I bought like 3 pair because I love them. But they have a liner in here like this, so you can just go straight to this liner, insulated liner, or you can go straight to the Gore, just to wear the Gore-Tex mitt, which is very handy. Like if it's raining and I'm hiking out and it's hot, but I want to stay dry, it blocks the wind. Just the right amount of what I need for some of these. Even late season, I'll do that. So I like the versatility of gloves with liners. Always have. And so I just love this mitt. And, it's not that much weight for if it's pouring rain and you get a cold snap and you get snow and it's miserable. And in spring, you just never know. I mean, it can be hot one day and then it can be a nightmare the next. Cold, freezing, snow. So it's just best. I just bring them. I might ditch the liner because I don't need the insulation probably. And I already have those felt ones that are in the bag. I might ditch the insulated Primaloft liner and only bring the Gator, the Gore-Tex outer shell. If I'm rafting in the water, I like to have it. Keeps my hands dry. It's hard for me to leave the Gore-Tex piece for sure. Here's a puffy vest. Always got to have a puffy vest. It's just so lightweight, lets you breathe a little more, sleeveless. This is the KUIU. It's nothing. It weighs nothing. It's like it's not even there. So I like that vest. And then I'll wear that over that merino top I have. And then this right here is the Grumman. Is that what it's called, Brad?
Something like that.
Stone Glacier. It's just a large puffy jacket. They're a large puffy jacket for this springtime. I think it's money. It's just right. Lightweight. easy to use. It's pretty sweet. So that's what I've got in the outer bag. So you can tell, like, I just like the puffy layers, the insulation layers, to be quick and easy to grab without me having to unzip and unpack my pack. I don't want to have to fish around inside my pack and unpack things. So I like them in here. And that's pretty much right there. I can always kind of get to them real quick and add a layer, remove a layer, add a layer, remove a layer. And so that's my thing. So I love that this huge vertical pocket with the mesh that Initial Ascent came up with is here. And you can just put so much stuff, and the mesh just sort of stretches to accommodate. I think Ryan has meals. I saw him or first aid kits. Like, he was stacking all kinds of stuff in his. So, speaking of which, I don't think my first aid kit's in here. It's not. So this right here, you unzip like this. And I love this style with the sort of garage door, beaver tail, whatever you want to call it, opens up, and voila, you got a little pocket right here, which is handy to put just, some, usually for me, a spare battery. So I know exactly where to get it quickly. And then here we have, this is my other, put it in here earlier. So this is an example of the boot dryers. I'm sort of sorting out my gear real time on this podcast. So this is the old boot dryer right here, which are great. They're a little bit lighter, but they're pretty ghetto, and the cables can kind of work their way loose. They're not as durable. These, it's like you can drive a car over them. They're molded, they're secure. You're not going to have any failure points with these. So I'm swapping them out. They're touch heavier, but not enough to change, and they really are like slick. So out with the old, in with the new. Gotta thank Rocksaw Austin over at Rocksaw for every time we kind of have some weird little thing we need designed that no one has made on the marketplace. Austin will be like, I can do that. Let me hook you up. And he did. And they just got better over time. So nice work there. All right. So a couple of things in the bag right here in the main compartment. Okay. I showed you what I wear in. I showed like my gear I wear to hike in. I showed you the pocket on the back where I put all my puffy layers, that kind of stuff. What I have inside the bag here is this little pair of, these are just some Origin long johns, which I had the wife cut for the spring, and do a little hem stitch on them and change them into Origin shorts, merino shorts. I didn't need them to be so long for what I'm doing in the springtime. It's so hot. So I got a little pair of these wool shorts, and I got this Kuiu. I don't remember what it is. Kuiu. It's a Kuiu hoodie. This one is called the Peloton 200. I really like the cut and the feel of this hoodie. It's a different material, kind of. It wicks moisture really well. It's different than merino. But this is what happens. I learned over time that when you bring one merino top and one pair of pants, the Katana, and then you just use puffies and you're really focused on weight, I wouldn't bring any other shirts, any other sort of lightweight or anything, no bottoms. And there have been hunts this time of year where we'll drop 2,000 feet, cross a river, and climb 2,000 feet up to the other side in like 80-degree weather. I'll get to the top on the other side, and I literally will be so wet you can wring out my merino Mountain Ops top, and the bottoms. I'll be drenched with sweat, like so much water, so much sweat. It's unbelievable. And when you get to the top, and especially if the sun's going down, the temperature's changing, you can find yourself in a pretty crappy situation because you're soaking wet, and you got no options to change. You can take off those clothes, but I got no other pants to put on. And I have in the past ditched them and put on my rain pants because they were just so wet. The top I've taken off and just gone straight skin to the puffy, which is what Livesey has been doing. But over the last couple of years, I started packing this little tiny bit of cloth where I can ditch my pants and just put on some merino bottoms that are dry. And then I can throw a puffy pant over that if I want to. And I'm dry, instantly dry. Like I'm not wearing anything wet that's giving me a chill. Get rid of my merino top that's soaked, put on this Kuiu one, boom, dry. And I got that perfect layer. And then I can throw a puffy on over that. And I found like the weight value of this, well worth it. Well worth it for that comfort. And for me, it's really about excessive sweating, like intense amounts of sweat, getting my clothes soaked and having a quick option to throw on at the top of a mountain after I've gotten in close range, after I've busted my ass for 3 to 4 hours on some grueling grind to get where I want to be. And you get there and you're soaking wet. Man, this is money. Plus, when I go to bed at night, sometimes I'm really sweaty and I just want to hit the sack, but you're wet. Well, I'll just throw my wet gear up in the teepee, throw my dry stuff on, start a little stove, fire going in the teepee real quick. Or if we didn't bring a stove, because sometimes this time of year we don't. We usually bring one between the 4 or 5 of us, so we can always throw our stuff in that one teepee to dry out. But other times, you can stuff it in your sleeping bag. It doesn't work as well if it's not on your body. It sort of just stays in a wet wad in there, dries a little bit. But one thing about the springtime is tiny bit of sun in the morning shining on the teepee is like a greenhouse. It'll dry out stuff quick. So I'll just throw this on and I'll let that stuff dry in the sun the next day if I don't want to wear it. It's just a nice versatile, it's a nice tactic thing that works. I've been doing it a lot and it's worth it to me. This is the Thermarest, the newer, lightest X-Therm they make. It's square. It's not the same shape as it used to be. Different color material. And it's actually lighter weight than my old one. I've learned that over time, you need to replace your air pads about once a year, once every 2 years. For how often we go, it's once a year. It just gets banged up, and it's pretty soon. It seems like anything gets it to pop. Once an air pad starts getting holes, it seems to like go downhill quick. The valve breaks, something. So I've gotten in the habit of like, once it's reached its lifespan, which isn't that long, a season, it's time to upgrade. Time to get a new one.
Air pad problems,
which is kind of everybody lately, it seems. So fuel depends on what I'm doing. I actually use this for a 10-day spring hunt, and that's all I need for morning and dinner. But I don't drink a lot of hot drinks like Lampers. Otherwise, it's one of these. So let's see. Then contractor garbage bag. Always have at least one, usually to put meat in if I'm going to drop it direct in my bag just to keep blood off of stuff. But we use it, stuff our gear in under a tree if we're ditching some stuff and we're going to take off. It's just versatile, nice to have. We use it. We pretty much dip into it every time we hunt. You got a stinky wolf because you shot one. You don't want it to get all over your crap and stink it all up because wolves stink. That's the way to go. Okay. This is just my rain gear. I have the Sitka Dew Point. No. Yeah. Rain gear. It's just a lightweight rain gear. The lightest you can get. It's actually impressive. I think it's been great. I've used it in Alaska as well. The reason you pack rain gear in the spring is so that it won't rain, because it's your rain insurance. Because if you leave it at home, it will rain like a lot. But if you bring it with you, it will never rain and you'll just carry it. And I'm okay with that. So you never leave your rain gear. You always bring it. So many times we have thought about it and we're remote. We get back there and you're like, yeah, I'll just deal with the rain. I may not be in rain pants. And then if it does rain, I'll just put on gaiters and a top. And we've done it. In the end, that tiny bit of ounces, always regret not bringing it. So now I needlessly carry weight a lot that often we never tap into. But when you need it, you need it. This is a Silky Pocket Boy saw. This is like the pickaxe. I just don't leave it anymore. I mean, if we want to make extra poles for our teepee or something because something broke, or fashion a homemade tent, or build something, a log cabin. Like, we can do it with this. It's unbelievable. And then cutting wood for fires, but even just shooting lanes, cutting down a tree, like this little pocket boy, can't leave it at home. It's money. Love it. Right here, game bags, Graxaw. Use the code GRITTY over there. Get yourself the boot dryers. Get the game bags. But these aren't, they weigh nothing.
There's 6 or 8 in that, and it fits in your palm of your hand.
Yep. And it'll do 250 pounds of boned out meat. It's pretty tough to beat. It is money. I got some Imodium AD in case I get diarrhea. I've got some ibuprofen. I got super glue, Band-Aids. In here I got Thermarest repair kits for my pads. I got some zip ties. I got rope cordage, a little bit of this is the Gear Aid sewing kit, which is easy to get and so handy. I've used it so many times. More patches from it's what is that called? Tenacious tape to patch rafts, to patch air pads, to patch puffy jackets that are got holes in them. It's just nice. So just some incidentals in this pouch that I keep. And then I've got right here, I've been carrying that pouch a long time. This is Luco tape. I could reduce the roll. I don't need to bring this much. This stuff is awesome, odd stuff, but I just throw it in the bag and let it kick around. I pretty much use it almost on every hunt somewhere, somehow, even to tape things together. Like, it does work. It's air pads. It's a weird, you tried to do like a bladder once. It did okay.
And it worked.
This is just a Tyvek ground cloth, just a cheap one, $20. Now it's probably 50.
25.
Get them on Amazon or whatever, eBay.
The guy that we get those from on Amazon
did you?
at the expo.
It's just got a little grommet in it and stuff, but this is the way to go. Throw it in a washing machine a couple of times to break it down, because Tyvek's really loud at first. With an agitator. Yep. Which is a center column. And then when you're done, let it air dry, and you have a pretty nice, supple, not too loud, but very puncture resistant and waterproof ground cloth. And they're cheap. Then right here, I got the Minimo, Jetboil Minimo. Been using this one for years. I've tried a few others, and I keep going back to this. I like the wide open top. I don't like the tall, skinny ones for various reasons. We cook in here. We do stuff with it. I've been using this forever. So I love that Jetboil Minimo. And the Minimo has a micro adjust valve, which is critical. So you can really fine tune the heat. So it's barely coming up, or you can turn it to high gear. The problem with a lot of those Jetboils is it's either on or off. It's either jet or it's off, which is only really useful to just boil water and that's it. But what if you just want to simmer something? What if you want to cook bear fat, render it down and fry some wolf meat in that bear fat? Like, I'm not saying we did or we did not do such a thing, but it's nice to have that that option. So Minimo all the way. Right here, these are money. They're the Catula microspikes in steep country, wet country. If you like the Laponia, you really need to upgrade to these Catula microspikes. They just strap onto your boot, and they give you these chains at the sole of your foot, so it gives you traction. And man, oh man, does it make all the difference in the world. Walking across a log, a slimy rock, a slimy log, climbing up a hill. It's just like you use so much less muscle. You're so much less prone to slipping, getting hurt. These things are worth every penny. And if you're hunting steep country, there is absolutely, whether it's dry or wet, doesn't matter. You just don't leave them. Wear them all day, every day, until you're on a flat trail and you don't need them. Put them in your bag. But 99% of our stocks and our climbs on the steep stuff, these are money. Can't stand not having them anymore. This is the Peaks Gators. Stormcastle. They're incredibly durable. Been using those for years. Same pair. Beating the hell out of them. Always got to bring the gators. I think they're the best on the market. Use the code Gritty over at Peaks and you'll save. But let me tell you, a lot of guys love their gator. And we're like, hey, let us send you a free gator, like friends of ours, buddies, people we've met. There's not a person I've met who has got that gator and then gone back to their old gator.
I have buddies that work for companies that make gators, and they're like, yeah, no comparison.
Yeah. None. So we love what Peaks did. They came out with a stellar gator. I mean, I think best in field. And so can't go wrong with the gator. It's epic. It's awesome. Awesome. So right here we have the, it's kind of a Peak sleeper product, by the way. Like, word is getting out. Yeah. Reviews are getting out. People are figuring it out. It's becoming sort of the industry standard gator, and people are really starting to notice, but it took time for that to get out, and people already have a gator, or they're like, I don't know, it's just a gator. But then it's starting to gain some major traction now. And now if you go to the site and you just read the comments and stuff, you'll see people love this thing. I mean, it's incredible. You got to check it out. Back to what's in the bag. This is a Peaks Solitude teepee. And it has a lot of unique features about it. We tested it over the course of many years, revamping with Peaks, over and over, like improving it. There's a lot of things we wanted to see in a teepee that didn't exist before this. And, turns out that, Peaks listens to what we say, and they went and made all those changes. And then they got some great designer over there who just is a genius. We gave him the problems and he came up with the solutions. And the teepee is legit. You got the carbon fiber pole. It's got cross members. It's got a way to add your poles to the teepee in the peak to turn it to put cross members that go across. I call them the rafters. You put rafters in your ceiling, and you can literally, I think, hang 100 pounds off of that. And we're hanging gear, boots, lights, equipment, like all kinds of stuff. It also makes the shelter. A lot of teepees aren't tight. Like they tight to the ground and to the ridge, but the walls are a little flexy, and they kind of sometimes sag in a little bit depending on especially sill. You throw the Peaks trekking poles in there and the crossmember design, and it takes that teepee and just pops it out, gives it a nice steep, hard wall, gives the whole thing some rigidity. So you got the center pole, the other poles, and the whole thing all of a sudden is more like a dome tent, freestanding. And the wind will just rip on it, and it'll just sit there and just take it. It's instead of caving in on one side like most teepees do. It's been set up for like 90 days in the most gnarly wind tunnel imaginable to see if it'll hold up, and it did. It's it's an excellent, durable, awesome teepee. It's a little bit bigger than the teepees we used in the past. I love it. I can't say enough about it. So that's the teepee. And then we have this Anchor solar panel power port. They don't make it anymore, but they do make a Rhino Tough brand. And Rhino is spelled
RYNO.
RYNO TUFF. And this is an Anchor. We were promoting the hell out of this, and then everybody's like, dude, we can't find it. And I don't know why, but an Anchor discontinued it. The Rhino is the same thing. Maybe it was 2 ounces more, maybe.
About 2 ounces more, but I feel like it's a little more productive.
Charges just a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. So, hard to beat. We always bring this for these multi-day hunts. You never have to worry about running out of electricity. You might have to manage some of your power because you're getting low, but you can always get a full charge on those Dark Energy or whatever battery pack you use with these solar panels. And nowadays we typically bring 1 to 2 battery packs in the one solar panel, and you could be out there for indefinitely and you'll always have electricity. It's pretty powerful, because sometimes you get dropped in some places in Alaska we've been, and it's like, manage that battery because you run out of battery on your camera, you run out of inReach, you can't satellite text somebody to come pick you up, you can't deal with your maps, you can't watch movies. That's bad. Like sometimes you want to watch a movie on your phone every night on those long days, on those short days, long night type hunts and later in the season. So battery, this is just empowering. It's crazy because technology just keeps ever changing the game for us. And that's another one of those game changers. So you can use your maps extensively. I can remember like having to really manage my use of electricity. Don't really do that anymore. On overcast days, it'll still charge things. It's impressive that way. You can strap it to your backpack. I've done that while I'm hiking around, and it's still capturing a charge as I move from one camp to another. I've had it on my pack for 8 hours, and I've fully charged a battery bank. Just even though it's not laying flat and stationary, just grabbing sun rays as you move it around. So yeah, it's impressive. So last but not least is a sleeping bag. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it yet, so I'm not going to, but it's a nice sleeping bag. And we'll get into that another time, but it's like a 15 degree, maybe somewhere in there. It's freaking awesome. This right here is a Sweeto ankle brace, and I pack 2 of them in my bag. I hate doing that, but they don't weigh very much in the end. And it's just when we hunt this steep country and I carry really heavy stuff, I just have found that it's better for my ankles and for safety to just bring it. Some people have knee problems. I just decided I don't really have ankle problems until I have one, otherwise I feel normal, but it just takes one tweak, and I have a lot of hunts ahead of me and I just can't afford to get hurt. So for me, I like that ankle brace. It works great, and it fits right around this crispy Laponia really well. Now, this cushion, this accommodates the brace really well. So between the ankle brace and the sheep feet orthotics and the boot itself and the micro spikes, like I have a legit like system coming off a hill with a 120-pound pack. And yeah, it's a pain to carry those extra weight sometimes, hiking around with these little braces in there. But I have found like, man, what a difference it has made coming off of mountains. Now I could wear a boot that has the ABSS in it, the ankle bone support system that Crispy makes, and that does the job too. But the problem is it's just a heavier boot. Every one of those boots is just a little more robust, a little stiffer. And for most of the hunt, I don't need that. My feet sweat so much, especially in the spring. So I like this lightweight, breathable boot. Plenty of support. But when I'm coming off a steep mountain and I have a full load, that's when I need a little extra. And so I'm a big fan of layering, like the concept of layering. So I don't need the ABSS in a thicker, heavier boot for all this stuff. But when I do need another layer of protection or support, that's when I throw it on and I use the layer I need when the time comes. Same thing with traction. The Laponia doesn't have the most traction, but it has all the traction I need for a lot of what I'm doing. And then I can layer up with the micro spikes, which are 1,000 times better anyway than a thicker, heavier duty sole. They're not spiked metal in chains. So, I like the concept of layering. I like layering up even in my footwear, even in the support in my ankle, all that stuff. I'll layer up, layer down, use the appropriate layers for the activity I'm undergoing at the moment. Backpack, I can layer down. I can pull the backpack off, just use the meat pack and the lid, or I can just use the lid, and turn that into a pack for some, like layering up, layering down, all the equipment being versatile like that. Very, very important to me. So I think that kind of addresses everything.
Trekking poles you don't have, but
use the Peaks Elite trekking poles. Those are the ones I really like. And use the code GRITTY over there. You'll save. But they have clip locks. I mean, look, folks, I've used a lot of trekkers in my day. I have beat the hell out of these Peaks. They got the carbon fiber upper, the aluminum lower, and they have the tiny little baskets and the carbide tips and stuff. And what for hunters, we're not skiing, we're not hiking open country often. And when you have those bigger baskets, that you need a basket, by the way, don't ever go out with a I don't want to see a buddy with a trekking pole that doesn't have a basket. Guy comes out like that, I want to punch him. That is how you break a pole. That doesn't give you the support. You're coming down these loamy hills that are just popping with spring growth, and you start to slide and you stab that thing and it goes 6 inches into the ground. It's so soft, and then you start to fall and you bend that pole and snap it. Like mud, same thing. You need a basket on your poles. Hunters need baskets, but you need a tiny one, because if you have a big basket, we call them grass catchers, and you're constantly getting caught in brush, and you're walking through and you're yanking on the pole because it's stuck in some crap, and the basket is so big it catches on everything. You need just that perfect stiff little basket. Goes in the ground, stops, but doesn't catch on anything when you move. And you got that strong aluminum lower that prevents you from snapping it like those carbon fiber poles. But you got the lightweight carbon fiber, which is plenty strong on the upper half for all the stuff that we do. And you can bang and impact hit that aluminum on all kinds of stuff and it won't crack, where carbon fiber is stiff and strong, but not built for impact. So you got this perfect blend throughout the whole pole. And in the design, we've gone back and forth with Peaks over the years, and they came up with ever changing until what they have now. And I don't like the twist locks. They always cause us problems, but the clip locks are money, the lever lock. So look, that's my sales pitch for the pole. You can't go wrong. Plus they're generally half the price for the weight and performance type pole that you're getting with Peaks, compared to competitors if you go to REI and do like a Black Diamond or something. So get yourself a Peaks pole. It's money. It's legit. Plus they're owned by hunters and they're awesome guys. So, Brad, anything I have forgotten here? I'm sure maybe there is, but you guys get it. That's the gear dump. And hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave us a comment in the description field. Fire away with any questions you might have. We're happy to answer those. We can dive into any part of our kit a little deeper on a future episode. But leave us a review too on iTunes or something, wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you get a chance, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. If you want to join us for our private community, we have a little private group over at gritty.locals.com. It's the Gritty Stealthy Community. We do live streams. We have a little calendar of events that we're doing over there. Lampers gets on some streams. I do some streams with Brad. And we have exclusive film content over there as well. So you can watch that too. So just go to gritty.locals.com, sign up. It's $7 a month. Sign up for 1 month. See what you think. Binge all the exclusive films that are only on that platform. It's the only place you can find those, and engage with some of the community there, because there's a lot of cool people there and you can leave comments, ask questions. It's not as active as I'd like, but I've learned, like, social media type platforms, you got to have tens of thousands of people on there to have a real strong resource. But there's still some dudes on there that are really knowledgeable that you can kind of get to know over time, and then build some acquaintances there and ask direct questions through DMs and stuff there as well. So that's my pitch. Hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for tuning in, and stay gritty.